All right. Hey, kind of caught myself there. Let me turn on some lights here so we get a little bit better here. How are y'all doing? Chris Franks with Texas West Capital coming at y'all live just a few minutes after 11 a.m. Central Standard Time here on Friday, the 20th of October, 2023. Just north of Houston here, guys. Hopefully y'all are doing all right. We're going to talk about how, we'll just maybe mention it in passing that the Bitcoin ETFs, the spot ETFs are not, listen to me, are not priced in yet. We're going to take a look at some charts here. I've got Fibo with us today. Again, guys, I continue to say, if you're not long, then you're wrong, right? You guys get that, right? Hopefully so. Let me see here. What else do we got? Well, we're going to look at some gold, some silver, usual things, maybe the SPY or SPX, something like that. Bitcoin, of course, the dollar. And I've got a few extra special charts here. I think we're going to probably look at NVIDIA as well. I've got an Ethereum Bitcoin chart I want you guys to take a look at. We're going to take a look at, let me see here, T-bond futures on the CBOT, on the CME there. I can't even talk here, guys. Sorry. The T-bond futures, yes, we're going to take a look at that on the monthly, looking pretty incredible. Looks like we may be getting ready for reversal. So interest rates may be topping out. I was looking for 4.97. We're just around 5%, 4.99. We'll see if that is enough to do it, right? Lots of stuff going on. Good to see y'all here. I see Gareth. I see Wazobia Dollars. I see Data. Scuttlefish, what's going on, guys? Y'all ready to see Fibo check in here? Let's see how Mr. FiboSwanny's doing today. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. How are you doing?
Well, I maybe not quite as good as you. You've had some pretty good movements with gold this week. You're still kind of hitting the same levels here, but I don't think I was in it as much as you.
I had
gold's been good.
I had some pretty good sizable positions. But it was actually a little bit larger position because I didn't have much on anywhere else because everywhere else has been kind of boring. so I kind of mix or match. It just depends on where your exposure's at.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, that was definitely a good one.
Man, gold. Geez, I don't know. Maybe we should start with that today. Gold just, it just kind of kept on pushing. I think it was maybe nearing the top here. Let me see here, man. What do you got? Well, let's see what chart you got here. You got Bitcoin. We'll start with Bitcoin.
No, I can pull up gold if you want.
You can pull up gold, man. Hey there, Kimazabi and Bramborg. See you guys. Sats McGee. Good to see you guys here.
All right, this is what's happening with gold on the 4 hour so far. Back when it went into the bull zone here, this was the threshold line. But according to my system, you need to have 3 consecutive settles above the 38.2, which was at 1870. So when it actually went bullish, it didn't signal yet until 3 settles above. So the first buy was around 1876 or so, depending on where you got in it. It did kind of come back a little bit, kind of a retest of this trend line break. And that's kind of that first level that I was looking at to take profit off of that. When you take the furthest point from the trend line to the trend line itself, take that same rate of change from the break point, it actually marked pretty interesting how it marked at the previous threshold on there. And that target hit right here before it retraced back and then came back up. Basically, what happened is it didn't come all the way back down to the shallow fib at that point. So I didn't get back long there, but I did get back long. Once you get 3 settles back above a certain target, it's kind of the same thing that's happening at the moment. It worked. I bought it back again and worked its way back up and hit my target again on the upside here. But now the way I approach it is we either get a throwback to the shallow fib line, which is right now at 1952, which right now it doesn't look like it's happening because momentum's still pretty strong for the bulls. Or what I do is once it gets up to this 141, if we get 3 consecutive settles above the 141, the 1996 becomes support, and then I'll end up buying it again with the next target being the 200% here at 2068. And another thing I had on here was just a little bit of a fib, just a trend-based extension. The one
Yeah.
thing I liked about this one right here was the 61.8% matched exactly with my 141. So I like that as another kind of threshold area to see if we can get 3 settles above it. Right now I'm out of gold because I got out of my positions, made pretty good money because these are futures, so the leverage on these are pretty
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting to see. We still got 2 hours on this candle, and then we got another 4-hour candle after that to see if we stay above 1997. And then I'll end up buying and then having that next target. So everything's looking good from a bullish perspective on this new bullish threshold that we're on. The other one is this trend line here that broke out, came back and retested, and that measurement brings us all the way up to almost 2100, which would be the next target. So if I buy here and get the target here, maybe we retrace back and get the shallow fib at that point and then go back higher, but we'll have to see. And then on the gold on this side, it went into the bull market here. At this point, we bought and sold already because the target hit was kind of tight. But this is the same kind of thing, but on a daily basis. If we get 3 settles above 1984, I'll get back long again with upside targets up to that 2100, 2144, somewhere right around there. So for gold, everything's still looking very good on the bull side and very supportive. So anytime we're getting a little bit of a dip in the market, it's finding buying interest rather quickly.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking at. What's your gold charts look like?
Yeah, man. I mean, if I'm looking at mine right here, big picture is still this, this overall look here. Let me see here. Yeah, so that gets us, of course, this is the.
You're looking at a wave 4 correction at the moment.
Do what?
Are you on a wave 4 already?
Yeah. This right here, we've got 3 up over here, and then 4 down, and then this wave 1 and 2 of 5 heading up.
Okay, I got
Yeah. So we're gonna get these out of the way here for the moment. But again, we've got an A, we've got a B as a triangle, we've got a C. We broke back up through that triangle resistance. That adds confidence to the count and signals that wave 3 should be in progress. So based on that, again, big picture here is that we've got this. I've already got it here. It looks like I've got this wave 3 up here around 2750 and a half up there. Again, all-time high sitting right up here at around 2000 and what is this, 89 or so, I think. Let me see if I can get kind of in here. $2,089.20 here on the futures chart. So, obviously breaking out above that blue sky, we can kind of take off. Usually, of course, what I'm looking for is a rejection prior to that as we near the kind of previous swing high, and then a pullback, and then so it gets like a 1 and a 2 and then a 3 of that 3 is that breakout through that resistance. You can see here we're topped out. The daily Stochh RSI, daily RSI is overbought here. It's just been consistent. This push has just been relentless right now. If I'm looking locally, my count off the bottom here has potentially, this was the initial target right here at 2007 and 80. We kind of went right above it to 2009 and 20. And then we had a secondary target up here at 2020 and 60 cents. So I'm looking for, it looks like a rejection right now. Again, 4 hour, you can see we've pretty much just hovered around the overbought and stayed overbought since way down here at around 1865 or so. Again, we're topped out and overbought here since yesterday on that 4 hour. We've got a lot of volume coming in. This is what really interests me. We've got volume was down low here as we kind of rallied up small candles. This pullback grabbed some buying pressure, big spike of volume, rallied up. Next one is the current 4 hour candle, which is right now, it has about another hour and 47 minutes left in it. But we've already got more volume and we're getting this large upper wick. So selling's definitely coming on up here at this target area. Yep. So my first thing is going to be, okay, do we get a breakdown below basically 1982.80? If we do, that's really going to look at me and go, okay, I think that, that first wave may be done, but then I want to see down through 1950.6 and then down here through, down here around, I've got a wave 2 right here, right around 1350. So yeah, looking for that first breakdown. And then, of course, getting through this 1950 and 60 cents should kind of really indicate that we're heading lower. Give us that wave 2. But then, man, then we've got that, that next push up, that wave 3 of 3. And that could get really fun. I don't see the dollar, kind of being anything positive if gold is going to continue pushing up so so strongly.
No, I like what
aggressively.
I'm seeing though, because you're showing a little bit of a selling pressure on your chart here, which makes sense with that volume and that candle.
Yeah.
And that's why I filter those consecutive settles, because if
Yeah.
it is going to top out a little bit and start to come down, it'll signal to me to wait for that correction. And my correction is at 1952, which you're right at that 1950 and change.
Yep.
So if I get down to that level, that's going to be where the shallow fib buy is, and it's also going to be probably testing the bear zone also. So that's a buy there for me. But then if it goes into the bear zone, then you're looking for that full set, that all the way down to that full wave 2 correction.
Yeah.
So I have the levels look good on my end, and I like what I'm seeing on there. I didn't look at the volume as closely as you did, but looking at that candle, I can see some selling pressure coming into that area pretty good.
Yeah, and of course, for anybody listening, it doesn't guarantee that top is right there. But when you do see this, these spikes of volume coming up at the top of a rally, or at the lows of a decline, you see these sudden spikes of volume. You really want to pay attention to see if you get follow through. Right? It's not enough just that volume's coming at the top, but then you have to follow through the other way. And we'll look at Bitcoin here in just a minute. But that Monday pump is a great example. We had huge volume coming in, left a large upper wick there on the daily. And even the 1 hour, I think, was back down below entry on that. But what happened? It didn't go anywhere, right? And here we are popping up. On most charts, we're popping up above it. A few charts were just right prior to it. So, again, guys, it's always you gotta have the volume coming in at the right place, and then you have to have follow through coming with it. Real quick, I just want to kind of point out. I know you said you had posted a chart like this. Do what?
No, go ahead. I didn't. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, I was going to say, I know you had said after I posted this chart, you mentioned you had posted one as well. Do I have it here? No, I don't even have it. This isn't the right chart. I do.
When the gold ETFs hit.
Yeah, the gold ETFs. In case people haven't seen that. Yeah, I think it's this one right here. Let me see if I can pull it up. There we go. Yeah, here it goes. So those of you, you've probably heard some talk about the ETF coming up and what it may mean. And, a lot of people kind of talking about gold when gold had its ETFs, right? And so you can see right here, the first gold ETF was launched in Australia on March 28th, 2003 on the ASE. It was Gold Bullion Securities. And that happened back over here on the, I believe it was like the 23rd or 24th of March of 2003. And as you can see, we were already in this downtrend. We kind of popped up and then came down. This is the weekly chart. So we kind of popped up on that next week and then kind of dropped down the week after. And then we started up. The first gold ETF in the US came out on November 18th, 2004 on the NYSE. And that was ticker symbol GLD. And you can see at that point, we were already rallying up a bit more, pulled back, continued up. But, from the ETF launches, down here at around here in the US was around $440 or so, and so now we're sitting here 20 years later, almost up here at around $2,000, $2,100. So, if we look at that and say, okay, maybe we get the same kind of idea coming in, it might be fun to watch, right? And what does that do for everything else? I don't know. Again, we didn't really have anything going on in 2004, right? We'd had the dot-com bubble previously. We had that, 2000. So this was a few years later. If we kind of compare it to today, we had the COVID nonsense and the big drop there back in 2021. Here we are a couple of years later. If the ETF gets approved, end of this year, beginning of next year, it still kind of gets you that 3-year kind of window there. So I think that's kind of interesting. Does that signal... I hate to use the term generational low, but everybody's very, very, oh my God, end of the world type stuff right now and the Great Reset. But man, again, I don't see it in the charts at this moment. And so, do we get then like we had in 2004 at least, where we had a few years of rallying, through into 2008. You got like 4 years there before we hit the great financial crisis. Do we have, maybe another 4 years here? So we get, 2028. And oh my God, all of a sudden 2020 to 2030 starts looking like 1920 to 1930. We had those roaring 20s into the Great Depression, right? So, I guess I just want to warn people here, if you're really worried about things going on, and what that means for you trading or investing or whatever, I think, you really do yourself a favor truly learning how charts work and how technical analysis works, and then focusing on that rather than all the narrative stuff. Because it's easy to sound convincing about how the end of the world is coming up and whatnot. And then what do? Last 2 years, Fibbo and I have talked about this multiple times over the last few months, for, almost 2 years now, everybody's been talking about this great recession coming in, and yet number continue to go up, right? So, so a lot of people miss some money on that, but yeah.
Yep. Show me the charts and I'll show you the news.
That's right. That's right. Let me see here, man. So your choice, you want to go dollar, you want to go Bitcoin?
We can show the dollar since you brought that up.
Okay.
Tying into, I mean, the only one I have that I have open at the moment is the daily here. Still in the bull zone. Momentum on the ADX has been dropping, but it still maintains a little bit of a sideways to upper structure at the moment. The latest target was hit at that 107.19 was that target for me on the upside on that first. Well, actually, that key selling level for the bullish threshold. It came back. It has not hit the shallow fib yet to where I would actually buy again, going back to the upside. But what I'm looking at here is, if this starts to come back down to the shallow fib, it's going to be testing this bear zone. So it's something I'm going to be kind of looking for to see if it's going to break down or not. I'm out of the dollar at the moment because I already took profit and haven't got back in yet because it's in this kind of limbo land between basically 105 and a quarter up to 107.34. And that's that zone that I'm either going to buy it on a breakout to the upside, or I'm going to buy it at the shallow fib if this ends up holding on the bull zone. But right now, there's not much action for me for the way I approach it. But the way all the pattern looks, this could be a spot that tops out, and the next thing you know, we're going to flip back bearish, and start going the other way. Because even though the momentum is dropping, the ADX is already down to 22. But it's still in that level that, could find some support, but it's also not gaining anything either. So you're not making new highs on that momentum. So to me, I'm in limbo. I'm not doing much on this at the moment. But if it does break out, then I got 110.34 as a target, and then 114.81 above that. But I'm not too excited about it just yet because I'm not getting anything to back any reason to go long at the moment. And keep this thing going with the way the indicators are showing.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you.
Kind of boring, but that's what dollar's doing at the moment.
Well, it happens, right? It happens, and I've got some interesting things here because again, we were kind of seeing the same thing here. The idea that not this chart over here, but this one over here. The idea that I've got a 1 and then this large expanded flat. That target area being this blue. I think it was a weekly supply. Let me see here. Yeah, that's that blue weekly supply right here. You can see we popped up right into the lower volume node area just prior to the 50% retracement. And so that was my, my wave 2 target if we continue to, to break out above wave A there.
Yep.
But your level that you're looking for, that bear zone, is actually the daily pivot. So that's right there.
Oh, it's matching up pretty nice then. Cool.
Yeah. So like you said, for anybody who was actually paying attention, you said there's a good chance that breaking through that could get you to the bear zone. And, that would make sense. The way I look at it, of course, is if we get an impulsive breakdown through that pivot, that's going to signal that, hey, this very well may likely be the top here, and we're going to look for some drop lower, So, I'm kind of with you in the same idea here, looking at it quite possibly being topped out here. I think my approach to the upside, let me see here. If we're popping up here, the upside, I've got a target of a little bit less than your target. I got a target of 108, 110. gets us right to the low end of this high volume node here.
Yeah, I'm at
Also kind of
110.29 is where mine is, so it's pretty close.
yeah.
I mean, in dollars terms, that's a pretty big spread, but
Right,
yeah,
right.
but
Well,
yeah,
my assumption here would be that this would be like a 3 and this would be a 4, like a really short kind of 4 here. And that would give us a 5th wave target up there, which is interesting. Comes right at this kind of resistance support area. You said
but I do like
110.
where
What
your
was
wave
that?
two is
110?
hitting, though. Where your wave two is
Do I?
hitting, I like where your wave two is hitting on that retracement.
Yeah.
I just match it because I didn't even look at it from that perspective, and it for that level to match that 50% retracement, then also on the just that zone that you had on the weekly,
Yeah.
all of that together makes sense to me, and that's why we're in limbo right now, because we're right in that area between your pivot point at the bottom and,
Yeah.
and a possible new high. So I'm looking at kind of the same thing. I just got mine marked different. My target hit and my shallow fib is basically your two
Exactly.
lines, which is weird because it's completely a different look and different way of looking at things. Because my
Well, I
shallow
don't know.
fib,
It's weird. It's just more of that. What we talk about all the time, which is no matter how you're kind of looking at the charts, if you're looking at them correctly, whatever system you're doing, they all kind of lead you to the same places, right? It's all when we think about it, price action, guys, as Fibbo and I know extremely well, is based on human emotion, right? And if you guys don't understand it, the reality is in your lives, you buy based on emotion, you sell based on emotion. You may try to come up with some arguments of why you're being logical, but if you're honest about it and you look at it, almost all the time you're buying, especially less aware you are of it, it is going to be psychological. It's going to be emotional. And so that's why when you get into trading, that's why you do that in trading, because you've already been doing that your entire life, the way you do things. And I'm not saying you like Fibbo and I don't do that. I'm sure, I know I do. I'm sure Fibbo does, in life sometimes buys on emotion. But,
sure, everybody does.
When you're getting to the charts, if you can recognize that that's normally how you operate as a human being, it makes it a little bit better for you to kind of pay attention to what you're really looking for on the charts. And, but that's why, again, why Fibonacci works so well, whether it's in terms of Elliott wave, whether it's in terms of threshold theory, or there's a multitude of other ways to trade Fibonacci as well. But it's all based on what do human beings generally do. And human beings are predictable. They do the same thing over and over and over again, whether we want to agree on it and want to admit it or not, right?
Yep.
So, yeah.
And for me, the Fibonacci levels are the proportion that people are making patterns in that in sort of a symmetry type of deal. Some are doing it I mean, because we're measuring it in aggregate. We're looking at it like social mood, like everyone,
right?
And there's patterns that are going to be made on the surface. Your self-fulfilling prophecy kind of stuff where everyone's looking at that same level. But then when you start doing a little bit more of analysis and deep down into different time frames and Elliott wave in different time frames and that fractal in nature, we're coming at it from a perspective that we're measuring this. We're trying to measure that psychology and that fear and greed and measuring that, and I think we're approaching that mindset together in different approaches. But if we're looking at it in that same kind of mindset, we're going to relatively come up pretty close on levels of getting in and out, and that's what makes it good. Because if I look at it one way and you're looking at it another way, and we're both getting targets of support and resistance at certain levels, that should be telling us something.
Well, hopefully it would be if we're paying attention, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if we're paying attention, it should be telling us something. So,
exactly.
So it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
For sure. All right, man. You want to jump on Bitcoin here? I know you got something to say about Bitcoin. By the way, guys, if you didn't know, Fibbo just did a recording with Crown recently. And I guess the link's out there. So follow Fibbo somewhere. And he'll put that link out there. He already did. And make sure you guys watch that as well. He did a really in-depth Bitcoin kind of look.
Yeah. BTC on the 4 hour. We got into the bull zone a little bit ago. You would have been the previous here was at 38.2. 3 settles into this, and you were in it long with a target of 29,176. And like I said on Crown Show, I actually said it was a good thing that we got a little bit of fake news in there because that candle got me filled, which was nice. But I mean, even without that, in a couple of days, it would have hit anyway, because
Yeah.
it's it's structurally bullish. So I got out at that 29,176, came back down. This candle actually went so fast, I didn't have a chance to get my shallow fib order in at
Yeah.
28.9. So I actually got filled at 28.1 because I went to the market when it was down there. So I'm back long again at 28.1 currently. The 61.8% held pretty nicely here on support on my threshold here. And then it's working its way up. My fib extension target right now is at 31K,
I like it.
which is in this zone between 30.5 and 31.1. And this comes from going back in history here, finding a significant level within this range, and this is a spot right here that makes sense. And that 31K is kind of an area where I think a lot of people are kind of waiting to see. And if it gets beyond that, you start getting a little bit more FOMO and people start coming in a little more. But right now, that's where the target's at. Shallow fib is at 28.9 at the moment. So if it does come back down here, I'll add to my longs. But right now, I'm still long, waiting for this target up here. If it ends up going up to that point, then the shallow fib will move up to 29.4 or so, and that's where that next buy would be. And then if that gets filled, then the next target beyond that is at 33.7 on this, and that to me would be the 200%, and that could be a nice little run, over the next month if it kind of continues this bullishness up to the upside, and it goes along with the daily also here where bull zone came in, we bought and sold on here, bought again, and now we're waiting for this one's at 30.8. You could do it at 31 because it's still within that zone between 30.4 and 31 here. Another thing, I took the fib trend based extension here, and the one thing I liked was that the 100% is at 30.2 here, but the 61.8% level is right there with my shallow fib. So if this actually comes back, that would be a spot to buy, and it'll be comfortable buying on a break back down to that 28.7. And then the trend line break objective is at 31.8 on this, with it breaking out and then coming back here.
That was a beautiful breakout retest right there. I don't know if you guys are paying attention, but look how nice that is.
It's textbook. And then I'm taking the furthest distance to taking that rate of change, and that kind of gives you the target. And what I like about it is it matches the previous high. So to me, that's an area that I think it should be able to get to at least on this run to the upside. And that 31.8 might be that ceiling that kind of keeps all that FOMO from happening. But if it gets beyond that point, I think that's where we can start to really kick in and get up into the mid 30s, maybe even up to 40K. If it starts to get above that level. And then finally on the weekly shows that break and retest here also. But one thing I'm looking at, it stayed in the bull zone. Two things: this trend line, this orange one that's going to the upside, and then the 61.8% level at 24.7. That intersection right there, holding and it not going into the bear zone, is just structurally still long-term bullish to me. To where that upside target of 50K is still in play until this breaks down. Why not? I'm not saying it could go to 50K tomorrow, but if it keeps this pattern and it keeps this support going along this bullish trend line, this orange trend line, and that's where the buying interest stays. If we get above that 31.8, is that level that we talked about on the daily there, then it just opens up a lot of upside potential. So that's what I'm kind of waiting to see how it's going to react once it gets to that 31.8. But then I also have sell targets there because that's where you should start to sell and then, and buy back on a correction. Or if you sell and then it breaks above that level, then you just reestablish another long if it happens. But that's where I'm at on BTC. I'd like to see what you got too. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, man. Again, I'm looking at that 50,000 areas, the next kind of major run up. I got a couple of charts here. This is some of the ones that I've been posting. This is just a nice clean chart showing the Wyckoff here. It shows the volume nodes, the low volume node. You can see that we're trying to break out through that one, kind of wicked up, and we've pulled back. This is the BLX weekly. So, it's not exactly where we are currently on the exchanges, but looks good. Weekly Stochh RSI still have a lot of room to run with that. You know, if you're looking here coming off the lows, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This overlapping price action again, suggesting that leading diagonal. Let me see here. If we look at this other chart, let me see. Is this the one? Yeah. So this is the other chart I kind of put up there. This has a bit more to it. It also has the counts. Remember, I'm looking at a 1, 2, 1, and then 2 is a flat here. You know, this talks about all the different volume price action relationships. You can see that this recent pullback here toward the what is this? The daily pivot around the last Friday was actually created this hidden bullish divergence on RSI there. And of course, that led to this. That was that Monday pump right here. Let me kind of do this. And so, you know, I was kind of looking at the idea. This is the old count here, right? The idea that maybe we had like a 1, 2, and then a 3, 4, and then a 5. But as we've been talking about with our members here at TWC, you know, I said, okay, that's potentially what it is, but it looks like we may be getting a breakout higher, which would suggest that actually that fake pump was a wave 3. And so all of a sudden we start looking at ABC as 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, and we're working C here is 3. And then we get a 4 on that pullback. And then we've got 5 here in progress, right? Now, if we zoom in a bit, where's my chart here? Okay. So the one thing I want to point out, first of all, is when we had this pump here, right? This is the Coinbase Bitcoin tether chart. And what you can notice is this is that 1 hour chart, and we close back down right below it. But if we jump out here to the 4 hour, you can see we closed right around this previous resistance here, right? And so we closed there and then rallied up, and that's that same level you were talking about where you had that shallow fib and it pulled back and it just continued to hold there. And this is great area across here, which, you know, again, we kind of closed here, rallied up, pulled back, rallied up, pulled back, and then boom, popped up, right?
Yeah, it was a 61.8% level on my threshold. So it was holding support there on that line.
So works out exactly perfectly there. The same area that I was looking for, what I drew on my chart here, what I wanted to see hold. And then, of course, here on this chart, you can see that we did actually break out. So again, the idea that this is a 3, and then we've got a 4 down here. And then we look at this and we go, okay, well, we got to get back there to a smaller time frame. But basically, you get a 1, 2, 3 is a triangle, or a 3, 4 is a triangle, and 5 gives us 1. And then we get this ABC back for 2. And then moving up through here, the idea here is that we've got 1, 2, and then, let me see here. We've got, basically, this is 3 and 4 of 3. So breaking out above this swing high right here at 30,041.17 should give us this minimum expected wave 3 target up here at around 30,781. Now, what's interesting about this is that gives us then a wave A of 5 target at 31,500, but that's only wave A of 5. And so then we have to kind of say, okay, well, if we get that, that gets us right above, right below the, just right here where the candle closes are, basically, prior to the wick on this daily candle here. So where this resistance is. So, it looks like maybe get an A, we get a pullback for a B, we get a C on the pop out, and maybe we only get up halfway through 30, we pull back. So we get everybody to go long. Everybody's looking for 40, 50, right off because they think it's going to happen overnight, right? But maybe we don't even get that high up. Maybe we don't even get a 1-to-1. Maybe we just kind of pop out a bit higher here into the 32s, get everybody to go long, pull back, put them immediately underwater, wipe them out, come back down. And now you've got your 1 with the peak out, your 2 on the pullback to support. And then you get that third long. And then that's that rally up to, 40,000 and some change on our way to, 50,000 for that larger degree wave 3. So, same kind of ideas you're looking at, kind of getting the, the rejections and the pullbacks potentially as we get up here. But I definitely think it's looking, really interesting. The move up here really, if this, let's put it this way, guys, if the Bitcoin spot ETFs were priced in, you wouldn't have had that. What was this? This is a 1 hour chart, right? A 1 hour candle, right? I mean,
Yeah,
this
it
is a
went up
1
what,
hour candle here.
$2,000?
Oh yeah, like absolutely crazy. What was that from 27.7 or so to 30,002? So gosh, almost like $2,500 in an hour. Well,
Yeah,
$2,500 up and back down, right? I mean, so
yeah.
just if something's priced in, guys, you're not going to get that kind of rally, right? You're not going to get that kind of rally on there. So, when we talk about are the ETFs really kind of priced in, I don't think they are, and I think a lot of it is one just general bearishness. Just because people are people and the way they are, but also the other part is this very long kind of reaccumulation range here for the last 5 to 7 months, making everybody cautious. People are scared to kind of jump in ahead of time because everybody else is telling them that's going to drop on down. It's going to go further. It's going to go 25 or something like that.
I tell a lot of
Right now,
people I do. I tell a lot of
go
people
ahead.
complacency kills. Don't
Yeah,
get complacent
yeah,
just because
exactly.
we've been in this range, because you'll miss it.
Yeah, and then that's funny because everybody talks about they're scared of missing, so they're watching the charts 24/7, 7 days a week, and they're not taking a break. And the one thing, guys, listen, if that sounds like you, here's the thing: you're going to miss a lot of the big moves in anything you're trading. Do not try to make a career or a life out of catching all the big moves. You're going to miss most of them. Okay. You're going to get them every once in a while, but at the end of the day, you're going to miss most of them. And so my suggestion is to really get out there and understand what we teach, right? How and why price moves the way it does, why markets move the way they do. And getting an understanding of just human psychology so that you can be in before these big moves, right? So you can be in before price pumps instead of trying to jump in on FOMO and catching those tops and getting caught. I say catching the tops, getting caught at the tops, right? If you keep doing the same thing you've always done, you're going to continue to get the same thing you've always gotten. All right. So make it, like I said, whether you're coming to us or somebody else or whatever, just make sure that you understand why you're trading. It's not just to make money. What does that money mean to you? This is one of the biggest questions I often give, mentees and coaching students and whatnot is figure out your why. If you say you're in it because you want to make money, that's not your why. Yes, you want to make money, but what ultimately does that money mean for you, right? And the other thing I want to bring up here, guys, and I'm going to be honest with you here, a lot of y'all talk about wanting to create generational wealth, yet you day trade your money out of existence, right? We teach both. We teach, short-term trading, and we focus a lot on actually more market forecasting, because if the odds are, especially if you're newer, you're going to lose a lot of money trying to day trade it. And with Bitcoin especially, Fibbo will tell you, man. Fibbo's been doing this almost as long as I have, right? He's going to tell you the same thing, guys. Listen, Bitcoin, the way it is, it's something that you don't want to lose your money on as you're learning how to trade. That doesn't mean you just have to buy and hold, but I would suggest that, especially if you're not consistently profitable, that you're zooming out to those larger swing trades, that you're grabbing, these lows down here, right? We got this wedge resistance. You're buying your long there, right? You're buying your long on the retest here and the breakout, and you're looking toward the top of the range at least. Because otherwise, if you're looking to day trade it, if you're new, trading's not something you learn to do overnight, guys. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. Very few people out there are going to tell you this because they want you to come to them no matter what, right? They want you to pay them money no matter what. But, you have to have your mind right. You have to understand what trading is and what it isn't.
Yeah, my stuff, I preach a lot of patience, a lot. It's generally a lot of questions I get is, you have to be patient. Day trading is not the definition of patience. But when you're swing trading or investing, you really have to kind of stick to the plan and let the market come to you. Don't jump in just because the market's moving in a certain direction that changes your emotion based on all the shit you read and everything else. It's more of a patience game. Like for me, I'm sitting here waiting on that, like the dollar, for instance. I'm not going to jump in there thinking that, it's in the bull zone, I should be long. No, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait for it to tell me what it wants to do, because I don't know where in the hell it's going. Nobody knows where the markets are headed. But the indicators will be a guide on letting you know where to go with that. So it's really about patience that I teach a lot, is just don't jump in just to jump in. Stick to plan, whatever your plan is. Let that market come to you, because if it doesn't, then you don't need to be in it. Because if you're in it and you're outside of your plan or your strategy, then you're just going to run on emotion, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to lose.
100%. That's right. Motions lose you money in the markets.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The first 3 or 4 years I did this, I was not a patient man.
Me too. Patience is hard.
But it's something that just takes a lot of time to learn. But I don't know. It's one of those things, like maybe you just need to be ran over by a steamroller once, and then you start to learn patience. I don't know. But
I don't know. I think for me, it was a few times.
Yeah, a few times. Yeah.
I was hard-headed back in the day.
Yeah, like the old cartoons, like the Roadrunner and Coyote.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the Coyote guy at the beginning. They're just getting killed over and over until you finally start to realize that, okay, maybe I don't need to get killed all the time.
Exactly. You see, guys, we're same thing, same ways. We've both been through the same things that you guys are likely going through at the moment. So when we talk about things, just understand that's what it is, right? I mean, we've been there. We've done that.
And we both do this. And I mean, really, why do we do this? Because I wish I had this.
Yes.
When I first started. That's the only reason I'm doing this, is because I feel like I want to pay it forward. I've learned something. I want to, share my knowledge, because I didn't have that when I was first starting. I wish I did.
Yeah, no, exactly. Every time, the whole way I've approached to TWC since I started it, gosh, over 7 years ago now, and it's continued to evolve and get greater, because I sit there and I go, okay, now that I know what I know almost 30 years later, when I first started out, now that I know, should I have liked to have known back then? What are the things that would have made the most amount of difference? I'm not saying I would have listened to it, but my goal here, just like your goal, yeah, exactly, right, is that we want to get out there and make sure that we're at least saying it, because some people are going to listen. The odds are most of y'all aren't. Not at first. It's going to take you a few rounds, which is why I always tell you guys, even if you don't agree with what we say here, keep coming back. It's okay. At some point it'll click. If you're open-minded, right? If you become open-minded enough, it will click, and you're going to see a strong change in the way that you approach the markets, and the things that you're doing and what you're doing in the markets, right? Because that's the goal at the end of the day, guys. I always say, you want to be, do you want to be right, or do you want to be profitable? I want to be profitable all day. I would love to be right. That's, it's being human. I'd love to be right. But man, oh man, if I have to choose, I will choose being profitable every day, even if it means I'm wrong initially, every time, right? If you guys want to subscribe to what we do over there, you can head over to members.texaswestcapital.com, and it'll show you the different ways you guys can become a part of Texas West Capital, including Fibo's threshold theory there. So be sure to jump in on that. Okay, guys? Let me see here. John Crossman, hey, I appreciate you too, guys. We're both great. Appreciate all you do. Mr. Johnson earlier said 2 best mentors in the game. We appreciate you guys, okay? Bramborg, man, we appreciate you showing up as well, buddy. We enjoy what we do here, guys. Deadly 123 is showing up.
we're the adults in the room, especially out on Twitter. That's what I'm called. I'm called all the time. People like, yeah, thanks for being the adult in the room.
Pretty much,
like,
right? It's not all this silly moon and and death and taxes kind of thing. Though I think we're both not very fond of taxes, but paying taxes, as much as it sucks, is better than being in federal prison. All right, guys, I'm going to tell you that. I'm a firm believer in that. Okay, so you may screw up on your taxes, time to time, but make an attempt to do them. And just if you make a mistake on them and the IRS comes back, figure out how to fix it, but don't not report income and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Make sure you
do
that.
Okay, it does suck if you have a large tax bill. But the way I look at it is, if we have a large tax bill, then we had a good year.
That's right. That's exactly the way you have to look at it. If you're having to pay more taxes, it means you've made more, guys. So
yeah, exactly.
It's
one of those things.
Yeah. So what other chart you got here, man?
Let's see. Well, I mean, Ethereum real quick. Ethereum went into the bull zone here. We just bought earlier today because it was already well above the 38.2 from the previous here. And just looking at the next target, I got a target at 1670.
Mhm.
I think I'm bought in. I bought twice because it went up, came back down and hit the shallow fib. I think I'm at like 1610, something like that, or somewhere around there. I have to see where the actual average is. But the first buy, the target's at 1670. The second buy, the target's at 1740 on this move to the upside, because these are the levels to watch on my threshold here. But the thing is like I'm not really super excited about Ethereum at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the bull zone and it's trying to get some momentum built, but it's the daily that makes me a little nervous here, because we're still not in the bear zone and it hasn't got up far enough to get us back into that bull zone. So until that happens, but it's starting to click bullish here. I mean, the ADX is a lagging indicator, but at least it's given us a movement in the right direction, to
Yeah.
where it's getting up to some levels that could start to bring in some more buying interest. And then what I would love to see is this to get back into the bull zone, and then I can buy on my daily, and then that'll give the impetus for that we'll need for this move here on the 4 hour. But yeah, I just got long again on ETH. Not a huge position, but I'm in on that. What else I got here? Um, that's it. Oh, I was looking at all the crypto stuff. The other one is the one shit coin that people have been talking about is Solana, and it's working pretty good. It went bullish, missed the target here on this one, but it went back to where you would have bought again, because basically the shallow fib would have been right here. It actually broke down,
Yeah.
tested the 61.8% level, but didn't have three settles underneath. Maintained the bullish structure. So you bought once, dipped, bought again. It actually hit the target for the first one right there. And then the second one, the next target on that second buy is at 29.53. And so far it's kind of working its way up there. If it dips back down to the shallow fib at 24.58, I'll buy another leg and see. I don't have the target where that would be on here, but kind of roughing it in. If this 200% hits, it'll probably be somewhere around here. I'm not don't. This isn't perfect, but I'm just seeing where it's at.
It's a quick draw.
The
Yeah.
Yeah, the next level is going to be up around 33 or so, roughly. I'd have to look at a couple things, but that's where that's at. So that's what I got for the crypto side of things. I do have silver to go along with gold. It's been on a nice little bull run here. Hit this target here at the 100%. So we bought or sold, rebought, waiting for the next target up there at 24.40 while it's in the bull zone. So everything's working good there. If it comes back down to 23.10, I'll buy more, and that'll open up the 25.92 as a target on silver. And then the only other ones I have is a couple of the stocks that you wanted to kind of look at, the NVIDIA, and I don't know if you wanted me to look at those or not, but
Well, let me go jump here real quick.
Yep.
What you were just talking about, and then we'll go ahead and jump in those.
Yep.
Let me see here. We'll start backwards here. I've got you guys know I've been a big, hey, buy of Sol since right there at the end of last year when I was on that Wendy O show. Again, hit the target, hit the 30, gave a 50 plus target then. So now, here we go. Everything doing exactly what we're looking for. I do believe this initial wave up here is nearing completion. Again, we could end up getting the rally up toward this wave one up here, but right now, we'll see how this goes. But again, this is all long, guys. There's nothing in here that says we should be short. We broke out above wave B here. We just did that, as you can see here today. And so, we've got a wave circle 3 target up here at 78.25. So, still looking for that. Nothing's changed on that. Just been this beautiful accumulation range going on here. From off the spring over here, we had a pullback on the test, much lower volume. That's what we wanted to see. So if you didn't go long at the spring, you should have gone long at the test. Could have gone long at the breakout. Could have gone long on the retest of the horizontal. Lots of different areas to go long. Could have gone long on the pullback here around that 65% retracement. But even the breakout here of the wedge would have been another great place to go long. Retest of the channel EQ right above the pivot would have been another place to go long. And so, again, these are kind of the things we teach, in the Wyckoff sessions that we do, which is, okay, so you've got this Wyckofian structure. Where should you be going long? Or if it's distribution, where should you be going short? Because I'm telling you what, guys, understanding where you should be based upon the structure and your understanding of that structure is going to get you a lot further than just kind of going in at any point. It pulls back. You go, oh my gosh, it pulled back. I need to go ahead and go long kind of idea. Yeah, so you want to be careful with that.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is the wedge you have they have drawn there, and then it broke out and retested the breakout there. That's right where my threshold started, which is kind of interesting.
Is it?
Yeah, that's where it clicked into the bull zone for me. Nice. So that's where the buying came in. So that's an interesting Elliott wave pattern that matched up with that pretty well. So I like that.
Yeah, it's always good, man. Like you and I talk about, man. It's always good when our levels kind of align, right?
Yeah, but I didn't look at it from a breaking wedge like that. So it's kind of interesting that it kind of tied in together.
Yeah, Ethereum, I'm like you, man. I'm not overly excited at the moment. Again, we had the pump there on Monday. We're getting a bit of a push up, but all we hit was the daily pivot so far today. I've got two kind of counts going on here. I got the idea that maybe the WXY could still be coming lower down here, about 1483 or so. Retest the bottom of the what do you call this? The channel. Though, if I look at channels, I go, okay, well, here's a throw under. That kind of makes me questionable as far as if we get another retest of that. But also, if this was to be a channel here and throw under, you usually look for a much stronger rally back up. So I'm kind of on the sidelines here, waiting to see some real kind of movement go off with this. But I'll tell you what, if we can get above this, impulsive breakout above the daily pivot, really above the descending channel EQ here, and so that'd probably be around 1680 or so. If we can get an impulsive breakout above that, then my target is the descending channel resistance, probably up here around the R3 pivot, 1890, 1895. And if we can get that impulsive breakup above there, that descending resistance, that should signal that we're going to, that the bottom's in here really, and we're going to head higher. According to Elliott Wave, 20, 27, and 41 cents on this Ethereum USD chart here on Kraken. That would be, whatever that level is on your chart, that Friday, July 14th, that swing high. You break out above that, and you should be on wave 3 heading higher, which is now, we look at it and we go, okay, well, what's going on with that? Well, somebody asked earlier about Ethereum, Bitcoin, and I've been talking about this on and off, for quite a while. And so we're looking now, this is the weekly. We've retraced just beyond 78.6. We've got this range here. My idea right now is that wave 4 is complete back over here on the week of June 13th of 2022. And so we've kind of retraced that into this weekly demand structure here. The S1 pivot on the weekly sits around 0.05241,447. So somewhere between the top of that range and that kind of area, I think we could potentially see the reversal to get us this interior wave 2 complete. As you can see here, RSI on the weekly is just now starting to push into oversold. And so, if we're closing down in there, that's what we want to see this week. If we can, we want to see this close down into this oversold area. Stoke RSI is oversold, and I will be looking for a reason to go long on that. In doing that,
what level
you want to break out?
What's the level on the downside?
Right now, from where it is at the swing low, that's the start of that demand structure. The S1 pivot on the weekly is right around 0.05241,447 area there. It's in line with anything you got?
Yeah, I just pulled up my chart. I was trying to see where I'm at on it. The target that I have matches is at the 61.8% of my previous threshold, which is at 0.047. So for me, I don't buy it until it gets to that level while it's in the bear zone. If you throw out my chart, you'll see it.
Yeah, throw your chart there. Real quick here, let me, Jack, use the members.texaswestcapital.com link. That is our new platform. The other one is to our old platform. So make sure you use that other platform, members.texaswestcapital.com. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. No, the breakdown here, when it first went into the bear zone, worked its way back up. It actually rallied all the way up, almost made a new high here, but it didn't break the bear zone back into the bull zone,
Yeah.
which was interesting. So it just kept this downtrend going. But I've had this target at 0.047 for a while. I don't know if it'll get there or not, because like you said, it's getting the RSI is getting into that lower portion of the bear zone. What ultimately what I'd like to see is if the price comes down and kind of wicks to that target and gets the RSI underneath the bear zone, then comes back up into the bear zone,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of bounces off that target. That would be a golden scenario to get long. But right now, I'm not doing anything until that target hits, or we rally into a new bull zone. So I'm kind of in limbo there for me. But
yeah, no,
that's why I wanted to see where where your levels were on there of what I was looking at. So mine's basically 0.0475.
well,
So
that
that's
wick under would be a great, bullish SFP there, below the previous low from last year. Let me see here. This wave 4 that I've got here. But here's the thing. Again, it's wave 4. It's just beyond a 38.2 pullback. So for me, if we were to break down there, ultimately, I could even see us heading down here toward the 50% retracement at 0.043499 kind of area. Definitely doesn't have to, but again, just general target areas that we use on a wave 4 is the 38.2 and then the 50. But if it did wick down below there and pop back up on that weekly, I would definitely be interested in looking at a long on that, because again, that is that bullish SFP below the swing low over here previously.
Yeah, that's what I would be looking for too, for sure.
Yeah. So I think that's great on there. So let me see here. You got, I'll let you pop your charts on there first, since you're the guest. Yeah, what do we got? We got NVIDIA, and we're going to take a look at MicroStrategy, right?
Yeah, NVIDIA for me is in the bear zone at the moment, with a target at my 200% of the previous at 401.30, which matches over here at this 100% pretty closely. So if this one hits, I just extended it down to where the next levels would be, which would be basically this huge ass gap right here.
Yeah.
That right there is right in this zone. So that would be the next level to the downside. And then if that broke down, then the 200% matches basically the filling of all of that gap. So it just depends on how negative it wants to be. We are in the bear zone, getting down pretty oversold, and it really hasn't went down too far. So that first target buy at 401 could be a possibility. I would actually probably not have that order in. I'd want to see what the market does as it starts pushing a little lower, to see if there's momentum behind it or volume behind it, and then go from there. But that would be my first buy target in this zone. Since I'm not going short at the moment, so I'm waiting for that long position. And then if as price approaches that level, if momentum builds as that's happening, then I'll wait for this lower 366 target to buy in. But right now, slightly into the bear zone, but we'll have to see if the momentum is going to keep building behind it. So that's where I'm at on that.
Yeah, I've actually got pretty much similar levels here. I'm not positive this is still playing out here, but it is possible. This could be like some sort of W, either an A or a W here, and then a B or a X, and then we get a Y here. And so that first level coming down there around that 401 would actually give us like 5 waves down. And so my thought is we're going to break down through the gap here. So let's say we kind of do this 401 area. That's right around the S1 pivot on the daily. We should expect a rally back up to the pivot and then a rejection to head lower. That gives us a 200% almost at that gap fill there.
Yep.
So for me, if we get that move back up there, for me, I think I'll probably be looking at this maybe like an A, or like I said, a W here, and then an X or a B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 breakdown here to fill it in. By the way, that'll give us, I've got this as a 3, and we're working on a 4 here. That 38.2 retracement is almost right down. It's 307.5. So you said 303, so pretty much right in that same area.
Yeah.
And so
303.77 is my number.
Yeah. And so for me, I'm looking at a capitulation move, like a few large candles on the daily, probably bringing us down through this almost 20% gap here. And so I've got here, is it maybe some kind of news event or something that'll happen around that time to give us that breakdown through it. But I think we get capitulation on that right now. On the daily, as you can see on this chart here, Stochc RSI is just about bottomed out and oversold. RSI itself, if we get this a little bit further pushed down, should give us a bit of bullish divergence. But my expectation would be a rally into the pivot area right around 450 or so, and a rejection there that then has us, at least to the 374, 375 to the gap. But I'm thinking it'll push on through to get us at 38.2 retracement right there. And so that's what I'm looking at the moment, which means, guess what? We got a wave 5 still to go on NVIDIA, right?
No, I like that, because like where you have that first level to the downside there, that 50% retracement at what, 393.10, I think it is, somewhere right around there, or wherever that is. That the S1 pivot. It's hard for me to see on my screen, but yeah, that first support. My target right there is at 401.30, and that would be my buy. And then my sell to the upside is at 449.40, which is pretty close to that 450. Yeah. So to me, if I bought it there, it would be a short trade, or I'd be going long to sell into my shallow fib, which would be right around that, or the extension off of that level. And then it would work further to the downside. So that early target for me is just a buy and a sell within a bearish market. I don't know if I'll do that or not, because it'll probably be a little too risky. But I'll. That's why I said when the price starts approaching that target, I want to see how it's reacting. Otherwise, I'm just going to wait and buy much lower, going long. But I like it because like on the indicators, everything's getting a little overdone, to where if it does get down to this area, we should find some buying interest to pop this back up into some of that resistance. So we'll see. I like it. I like that. It's a tough one. It's a tough broadening type pattern there to measure at the moment. But I like it.
We'll see how it happens here. Like I said, right now, if we do happen to fall on through that S1, I'm gonna, the count here says we get a wave A target right around the gap there.
The gap fill, yeah.
But then
that's really what I'm waiting for, to really go long.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, listen, if you're listening in, I mean, you can trade either direction, but man, when you've got strong trends like this, trading in the direction of that trend is your safest, most stable way to actually make money. When you start trading against the trend, there's a lot of different ways corrections can take place. And if you're not really well versed in it, it can become exceedingly difficult. And so most people, they can jump in on this trend here. That's not a problem. They'll jump in somewhere along the trend and they'll make money, and then they'll lose it all and more on the correction as they keep looking for it. Every time it pulls back, they're looking for a reason to go long on it. So, if that's you, definitely be careful with it. It's most of people out there, that was me back in the day. I'm sure that was Fibo back in his day as well, before we kind of started figuring things out and doing it. So, again, just, hints and tricks and tips here to kind of help you guys along the way, things that we've been through as well on that. Let me see here. And then MicroStrategy. Yeah, man, jump on that.
Yeah. Interesting at the moment. The previous threshold here, that when it went bullish, worked really well, actually went all the way up to the 200% just perfectly. It was like textbook. And then it started to work its way back down, got back into the bear zone right in here. It wouldn't have been a sell until underneath this 38.2. But as you can see, it came down, came back up and tested as resistance, and has since been working to the downside. If you were playing the downside, the target hit right here on that first target at the 61.8% level. The shallow fib at the moment is still acting as resistance there at 356. And even though it rallied up here at this point, it barely didn't make it into the bull zone, which was interesting. So this whole line right here, it's trying. It's definitely trying to get back into the bull zone. The momentum's behind it, but for me, it's just not there yet. I need to get that bull zone, and then 3 settles above that shallow fib, which would be 356. Then I'd be a buy, um, according to my stuff. Now there could be other ways of looking at it to where you might be analyzing something to be, kind of front run it, maybe
Yeah.
be bullish. But at least from my system at the moment, um, I wouldn't be long just yet. I'd be waiting for that signal because a little bit more conservative approach, waiting for that.
Yeah.
So I might not get the exact bottom, but if the trend's going to break into a bull zone and the momentum's behind it, maybe I'll miss the first. Maybe I'll miss the first 1/3, but hopefully I'll get the second third on the run up to the upside. So that's what I'm kind of looking at there.
No, I mean,
So
I'm kind
not
of
much
thinking
on
the
it, but
same. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same thing here. For me, I've got this as, let me kind of zoom this out here a little bit, as potentially a leading diagonal coming off this December 22 swing low. So basically, an ABC is 1, 2, ABC is 3, 4, and then maybe like ABC with a 5 up here at around 621 and 70 cents.
okay.
Locally, what was that?
No, I said okay. That looks good.
Yeah. So locally, though, again, we've broken out. We kind of just hovered around this daily pivot, broken up, rally to the R1, getting rejected right now. Could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a leading diagonal locally. So we'd look for a pullback down here, probably around 330 or so. But looking for this support to continue to hold this support. Kind of like what you were looking there on Bitcoin. And if we can do that, I mean, I think it looks pretty good for a rally up higher. I want to break out above 387.99. That's that wave B. And then again, would it then be looking up based on the height of wave 4 here? We could potentially see this thing rallying up toward, let me make sure I've got that right on there. Yeah, right up there around 620 or so to get us 5, right? So you get 5, that gives you a 1, you get a pullback for a 2 and a move up. So yeah, a lot of what you're looking at, I'm looking at similar as well. Looking for a reason to go long, but it's not there yet.
Yep.
But yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, I was on a Crypto Town Hall this morning, and I'm going to point out something here that just in case you guys are maybe buying into stocks, certain stocks for Bitcoin exposure rather than buying direct Bitcoin. So maybe you're buying into MicroStrategy because you want to be exposed to Bitcoin, right? I do believe that Bitcoin spot ETFs are a question of when, not if. So I do see them coming. And if they do, I think that disincentivizes most people from buying into Bitcoin adjacent stocks, basically like MicroStrategy or whatever, where they're trying to get that exposure. I think then they go to the ETFs. And so I just want you to kind of be careful. MicroStrategy's got like a 1.7% of the market share of data visualization business information kind of thing. They're not up there, like Tableau has like a 15.5, 16%, I think, of the market share. Microsoft BI has like another 12 or 14%. So yep. I just want to caution you that if that's what you've been doing with MicroStrategy, you might want to be careful with that because I do see that if ETFs are released, I do see that people that are buying into MicroStrategy to get that exposure to Bitcoin in that way, I think they're going to find a better reason to go with the Bitcoin ETF once they're approved. And that'll take a lot of the shine, I think, off of MicroStrategy quite potentially. If you guys have been following me for any length of time, you'll know I took a look at MicroStrategy probably about a year and a half ago. And back around, they're the ones that flew high to the top of the .com bubble and then all the way down to the bottom, almost went out, right? Kind of moved their way back up. By the time 2014-15 came around, all their competitors were taking off. I showed you the chart where everything was taking off and they were just staying there. They didn't actually start moving up until Saylor started really getting into Bitcoin, right around 2020, 2021, right around there. And that's actually when they started going up. So, as a company, the reason they went up was for this Bitcoin exposure. Again, I think because, not just kind of the returns on it during the bull market, but also because people were getting into it for that exposure that they couldn't get at the time because there weren't Bitcoin ETFs, and all you could really do was GBTC. But, that runs differently, and they had their limitations on that, and you had lockup periods and all that. So yeah, I would just say, if that's what you've done or what you plan to do, I would be careful with that. I think more of the money is going to actually get directed toward ETFs. It's going to pull out of things like MicroStrategy, whatnot, for that reason. Now, people are going to be a MicroStrategy maybe because they believe in the company and business intelligence and all that. But I think a lot of the luster for the Bitcoin part of why people are getting into it is going to rub off when these ETFs are released. All right, guys? Sat says it's going to be interesting to see what happens with GBTC too, if they aren't in the initial group that gets approved for ETFs. My gut feeling is that once the ETF thing happens, it's just going to be whatever. It's just going to be everybody, and SEC is going to stop fighting it. GBTC is going to be able to convert to an ETF, and I think everybody's going to kind of happen at the same time. The SEC doesn't want to go out there and just just approve one or two and kind of lag on everybody else. It'll, the way the SEC works generally is it's going to be in everything all at once kind of thing. So I think when they do get approved, I think GBTC gets converted to an ETF basically at the same time. And then, I don't know what happens with GBTC. We'll see. But that NAV is closing up pretty quick right now, and we're almost there. So, yeah. You got any other charts there, man?
I think that's about it. I mean, the SPY in general. I got that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what do you got on that? I think some people trading that.
Yeah, I've been in the bear zone here on the this is a 4-hour. Waiting for 4201.50, which is still a little ways down before I do anything. While we're in this bear zone, momentum's getting pretty strong to the downside. Shallow fib resistance at the moment is at 42.91. So I mean, if you're playing this, you would have been short, at 43.50 basically, waiting for some downside. So I'm actually taking a back seat on the SPY at the moment, waiting to see if we get a much larger correction down to this 4200 area. And then on the daily, same kind of thing. I want to see it go way down here on the, it's 40.78. I mean, this is a long way down. Still a lot more possible, crash in the market. Maybe, I don't know, but I'm holding tight for either these much larger downside targets or a flip the other way. And right now, it doesn't look like that at the moment. So, but that's all I had for charts at the moment was the SPY.
Yeah. No, and I'm looking at, I'm about to pull my chart here, but your 4-hour there, look at that 4-hour candle. That's a nice wick showing up on the bottom there. So let me kind of jump over here and see. So my thing has been, okay, we're in a wave 4, right? That's what I've been looking at. The 38.2, we kind of dipped down almost to the 50, or we basically did to the 50 here. And so I'm kind of looking at this as potentially an ABC, or maybe if it's a WXY, it's quite possible this could be WX and we get a Y with a little bit further down. But I'm not overly fond of that.
On my chart, the first level to actually buy, I just didn't do it, is that extension between 42.68 and 42.84. That's the first spot to actually buy during this move to the downside. I'm just taking a back seat and being a little bit more conservative with it. Since the momentum's building on a day-over-day basis. So I'm a little nervous on the momentum going down. But I think that level between 42.68 and 42.84 might match where you're talking as a spot to bounce from that ABC down, the ABC to the downside.
Yeah.
So that matches up there. I just didn't do it.
Yeah, you gotcha. When I'm looking here, again, I look at this like, getting 5 up here and coming back, and this looks like 5 up here and coming back, and this looks like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. So, but this can't be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because wave 3 would be shorter than both wave 1 and wave 5. So, that's why I've got the count where I've got it here, which is 1, 2, 1, or 1, 2, 3, 4. But we are coming up close on that wave 1 here at 40.
Yeah, because 4 can't exceed wave 1. Yeah. No, I got you.
Yeah.
Looks
Yeah,
good though.
and definitely not in a, in a wave 3, right? I mean, we leading diagonal, ending diagonal, okay, but not in a wave 3. So I'm cautiously watching what's going on here. I think, let me zoom in. This is the weekly here. Let me kind of zoom in. Daily looks like it could go down a bit further. Let's go 4 hour here. 4 hour, we've hit oversold, and that is just a really great looking hammer candle at the moment here.
Yep. Hammering in the
Let me
bottom.
pull this back over here. And right there at that support level as well, which is really important. When you're getting these pin bar candles, you're kind of getting, body support right there as well. Yeah, I mean, gosh, if I'm looking at this, I don't know. It looks like it could be 1, and then A, B, C is a flattest 2. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives us 3, and 4, maybe 5 here, right? But we got to be careful, guys. I mean, here's the thing. Anytime you're getting really down there around the swing low, you have to be cautious, okay? We're a 90% retracement off this rally. So it's looking good at the moment. It continues to look good. And the 4 hours really well oversold. It's oversold now, and Stochastic RSI bottomed out. But really what we're going to kind of need at this point, at least initially, is we want to see a breakout above this swing high up here at 44.30 and 50 cents. If I see that, then I'll become a lot more comfortable that wave 4 is done here, and this is like a 1-2 heading up. But ultimately, for the count itself, for wave 4 to be considered likely complete, we need a breakout above 45.66 here. And so doing that then gets us this wave 5 of 3 target. This is not wave 5. It's just wave 5 of 3, guys, up here at 48.51 and a half. And so, again, everybody very bearish, everyone, but this gets us a new all-time high. So you get a peak out, pull back in. So everybody that goes long on the breakout, this is minimum expected, could go up higher, right? But the idea is you kind of draw them in on that breakout. Everybody goes long, and then you immediately get them short. And so they're underwater as you kind of come back this wave 4. And then they get convinced that, oh, it's a double top. So as wave 4 comes on down toward this swing low area down here again, everybody gets ready to go short, and they start going short. And then it rallies back up and breaks out again. And you kind of just really catch people off guard with that. But there's nothing right now that's anywhere near bearish for what I'm seeing. Again, if we look at this wave 3 here, we pull that up. That pullback again, it's in 3 waves. We're just shy of the 50% pull. So I mean, it's a very solid wave 4, right? So if I'm looking at that, I'm still structurally looking long until something more significant happens, like a breakdown into wave circle 1 there. If we get that, then I'll have to go back and look at it and go, okay, is there anything else it could possibly be? But, or maybe is it an ABC even, but until that point, I don't see any reason to really get overtly bearish on it, guys, with me there. So,
yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I mean, there's certain things that I look for, like, there's certain boxes to check. And if there's 3 or 4 boxes to check to make me comfortable to go along, 3 out of the 4 are clicking, but I really like to see that 4th one, So the daily chart still makes me a little nervous on downside.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to be a little bit more aggressive, you buy in this area with a pretty decent stop. I wouldn't have it super close, but I would definitely have a stop placed in there on the downside, because like you said, this is the way it's setting up. This could be a spot for a reversal going back the other way, and it'd be a good spot to buy, trying to front run that possibility of that breakout to the upside. But I'm playing a little conservative. It's going to be all based on the personal risk tolerance that you have. But I'm just waiting it out. We'll see.
Yeah, me too.
I do like what you got, though. I like that way that's lining up.
We'll see if it happens, right? I just want to jump on here one thing real quick before we go here, guys. I told you we'd take a look at the T-bond futures here, and then we'll look here real quick at the 10-year Treasury yield. Okay, so again, I think I was looking at 4.9, 4.977, right? And we've got well, I was looking at 4.97, and we've got 4.996 here, right? So we're right there around it where I was already looking to get this topped out. That's right there around the R1 pivot here on the 2-week here, or which is the weekly, guys, basically. But you can see again, oversold RSI, really well oversold, topped out Stoke RSI. But let's look here real quick at the T-bond futures. This is the monthly. So we've been coming down here since March of 2020, right? We're right here at the S1 pivot. Now we could pop down a little bit lower here, 105.07 here at the 78.6, but we are basically right there around that S1 pivot. Look at what's happening on the monthly. We're oversold on the monthly RSI. We've got bullish divergence building, right, over these previous lows. So I think there's a good chance that our bonds and whatnot are about to reverse. Again, we look at that, and at the same time that's happening, as you would expect, the 10-year yield here, which, those are looking more at the 20-year plus, but this 10-year yield here kind of getting, topped out potentially here on this rally.
Should start to drop. Should start to drop. I'm
thinking so. I'm thinking so. No guarantees, obviously. We could continue to push up a bit higher here, but I mean, I can go in here and count this. Let me get this back over here to the weekly. And so, yeah, you're looking in here and you go, okay, well, especially off the low here, you have a 1, 2, and then you got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 gives us that target right there, right about where we're at, right? If we go and measure this fourth pullback here. You got the fifth
wave extended into R1.
Yeah. And so, I pulled it way up there. No, that's right. I mean, I could potentially see 5.147. And I think, if we're getting that then gets probably this T-bond futures down into that 105.07 area. So, and doing that, we're already pretty close to oversold here on the Stoke RSI, but we've got that bullish divergence and oversold on the monthly, guys, from October of 22 until right now. So a year-long bullish divergence. You can see volumes picked up here on these last few candles as we broke down below that swing low. We're at support, at its strong, macro support. I would be, if you guys are into bonds and whatnot, I would be watching that. I would seriously be watching that. And also to give you an idea of what the Fed may be doing, right? We've got another meeting coming up. I think right now, I think they're probably going to hold still pause. And so, I mean, I think it sets it up. And at that point, if the Fed's not raising, it takes the fear of the higher rates out of the market, makes it more risk on. And so, if you're looking for why, if you have to have a narrative of why price might go up, with Bitcoin and stocks and stuff like that, well, there you go. So just some thoughts on that real quick. And there's Fibbo right there. We'll say him. But anyway, we got to get out of here, guys.
Yeah, I didn't have those charts updated, so I didn't have anything to offer on that. But I like. Yeah,
I just want to bring them up because I kind of mentioned some stuff recently about it. And I was thinking, man, I'm just going to pop that up there. And I posted something on Twitter here recently. So
cool.
Man, oh man, love having Fibbo here, guys. Let me know what you think. You guys like enjoying having him here as well. He's been a great addition to Texas West Capital. And looking to get him even more involved as I twist his arm and do things, right? But man, oh man, I hope you guys, picked up something here along the way. The goal is not to, convince you that we're absolutely correct and you have to believe us without thinking. We want you guys to think, but the important thing is we want you to think. That's it. We've got, Fibbo 20 somewhat years. I've got almost 30 years experience, in the markets. And, we're just trying to get that out there to you guys because there's so much bad information. There's so much misinformation, especially if you're in crypto. There's a lot of people who have come in, just into crypto. They've never traded. They've never been in markets before, or all they've traded
and
is
it's
crypto.
it's not even the tweets that people put out. It's a lot of the crypto publications that actually come out.
Yeah.
I cannot believe they publish these people.
It's bad. And we're just trying to help you guys, kind of combat a lot of that bad stuff. So you can start noticing what the bad information or maybe the potentially misinformation is out there. And that way, you can hopefully trade much better. Listen, guys, go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Follow us. Subscribe to the channel. Fibo, you can get him on Twitter at FiboSwanny, 2 N's. You can check on my feed if you want TX West Capital, and he comments on there and whatever. So you can, if you have trouble figuring out where he is or which one's the correct one, because he's got at least one imposter out there.
I've been trying to get rid of that guy forever. He still hangs around.
It's awful. Isn't it? I think I've sent a report on him twice or 3 times already too. So
at one time, which is not fun, but at one time I think I had like 10.
Oh,
but I've got them narrowed down to 1, and I still can't get rid of them.
It's a cockroach, man.
Yeah,
cockroach.
2 N's, not 1 N.
All right, guys. Well, listen, as always, remember the only thing you control in the market is how much you lose. So please keep working on that risk management day in and day out is the most important thing you're going to do as a trader or investor. Okay. You guys have a great weekend. If you're in the mentor program, guys, don't forget, we've got a session here in about an hour. I promise I'll come up with something clever. If not, you can throw fake oranges at me because, well, you really can't throw oranges at me, right? But anyway, you guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much for showing up. And we'll see you guys over there, social media over there at Texas West Capital. Join us, guys, members.texaswestcapital.com. Everybody, take care, all right?